When people talk about the greatest actress ever born, who usually comes to mind? Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland, Meryl Streep, Grace Kelly, Julia Roberts. For others, it might be the new generation: Scarlett Johansson, Zendaya, Sydney Sweeney, or Jennifer Lawrence. Ask around and you'll hear a variety of answers. None of them wrong. In Hollywood, there is no single definition of greatness. Unlike sports or politics, where statistics and data often determine who's on top, acting can't be measured so neatly. Is greatness defined by box office success, cultural influence, television reruns, or a mix of everything combined? What's often overlooked are the different eras these women were acting. Technology, communication, and laws were very different, shaping how actresses could perform and how their careers unfolded. They faced pressures from writers and directors, unequal pay, sexism, challenges that aren't easily comparable to today. Things are different now. Millions of actresses have opportunities to work in showbiz, and differences in culture, religion, and race are no longer shunned. Pinpointing the best actress today is difficult. The filmmaking landscape has changed dramatically, and with audiences spoiled by endless choices, there is now a greater sense of disconnect. For example, many people hold Julia Roberts or Reese Witherspoon in high regard, but if someone asks me to name one of their films under pressure, I might struggle. Over time, some of their projects haven't stood the test of time, fading into memory like average performances. Thanks to streaming, people's varied tastes and preferences can be satisfied instantaneously, which makes lasting impact even harder to achieve. The greatest actress of all time, the best of the best, one who truly needs no introduction, has to be Phoebe Cates. If you know the name, then you'll already understand what I'm talking about. For non-unfamiliar, Phoebe Cates starred in some of the most amazing movies ever made, films that have remained untouchable to this day. From the 1980s through the 2000s, Phoebe took part in incredible projects, and it's surprising how well those films have aged over the years. Though not always recognized by the average audience, Phoebe Cates proved to be a true performer, capable of delivering lines in a way few could match. Beyond undeniable talent, Phoebe was also admired for her beauty, resilience, and unforgettable smile. Colleagues consistently praised the way Phoebe carried herself, a reputation for respect, kindness, professionalism, and fun, both on and off set. Unlike many others in Hollywood, punctuality and humility were trademarks, always arriving early and choosing to eat lunch with staff, guards, and janitors to connect with everyone equally. Phoebe also stood up for young women in the industry, offering support to those who were being harassed by evil producers. What truly set Phoebe apart from other actresses, however, was the decision to leave Hollywood on her own personal terms. Rather than overstaying, Phoebe gracefully stepped away while still at the top. Few actors in the modern era would ever do such a thing. Too many continue acting for decades, refusing to step aside for the next generation, despite already making millions. Phoebe Cates avoided the scandals and bad publicity that plague so many others. The industry never shut the door. Phoebe walked away at the peak of her success. No one has seen Phoebe in Hollywood since. That to me is the mark of a true legend. Phoebe Cates was born on July 16, 1963 in New York City. Their mother, Lily Gates, was born in Shanghai, China, before moving to the United States in search of the American dream. Their father, Joseph Cates, was a Russian Jewish businessman in Manhattan. The two dated for 5 years before marrying and eventually welcoming their daughter Phoebe, who became their only child. With no siblings, tremendous expectations were placed on Phoebe to succeed in life. The journey into modeling began at the age of 11. The fashion world appeared glamorous and full of opportunity, and Phoebe possessed the talent to thrive in it. The modeling business quickly became a passion, offering purpose and direction. Through dedication and character, Phoebe built a strong reputation and achieved remarkable milestones, including appearing on the covers of local magazines for 2 consecutive years, an accomplishment few models managed to reach. In an article years later, Phoebe explained that after spending considerable time in the modeling industry, the work began to feel repetitive. Having outgrown that chapter, a major career pivot followed: acting. The transition proved challenging and required relocating to Los Angeles, California in search of an agent, to begin the next phase of a remarkable career. Phoebe Cates got her big break in the 1982 film Paradise, a movie that remains impressive even today. Although considered a knockoff of the popular Blue Lagoon, the film managed to carry its own weight. The story follows a boy and a girl stranded in the desert, forced to deal with pirates, diseases, and dangerous animals. A simple yet engaging plot. Another milestone in Phoebe's career came with the unforgettable film First Time at Richmond High, which cemented a place in Hollywood history. It's about a guy who refuses to take accountability for impregnating an innocent girl. She's embarrassed, ashamed, and humiliated when she realizes he's nothing more than a monster. Even the biggest macho-loving, tit-watching supporter will never defend this douche. The plot, characters, and soundtrack are second to none. The scenes feel organic and the dialogue reads as though it were crafted by writers, fully confident in the story they were trying to tell. This has to be among the top 10 best high school films of all time, only behind classics like High School Musical, Mean Girls, and Clueless. In 1983, she starred in a film titled Sister. Although the plot is simplistic, it's unforgettable. The story follows two sisters. Phoebe Cates plays the reckless one, who constantly messes up, leaving her father deeply disappointed. Her behavior stems from the guilt she carries over her mother's death. Despite its simplicity, every character delivers decent lines, and the theme song Once Heard is impossible to forget. In 1991, she starred in a film titled Drop Dead Fred. If you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend giving it a watch. The level of laughter, frustration, and anger packed into one film should honestly be studied. With every new scene, the emotions shift in ways that few films manage to deliver. The only downside is that it still hasn't made its way to streaming. The story follows a girl with an imaginary friend named Drop Dead Fred. Together, they make her parents' lives a living hell. Years later, when she's all grown up, Fred reappears, and once again the two wreak havoc on innocent people just trying to get by. In 1994, she starred in a film titled Princess Caraboo. The film tells a story of a girl who convinces an entire town that she's royalty, watching everyone bend backwards to please her in hopes that her real family might offer a reward is hilarious and telling. She spends most of her time acting clueless, making up dances, inventing languages, and wearing bizarre attires to prove her supposed origins. The film cleverly highlights how narcissistic, greedy, and selfish humans can be, while also showing their capacity for kindness. It's a wholesome family movie, and surprisingly, the camera work of that era looks far much better than today's modern technology. The ending, in particular, brings the house down. It makes most modern romantic comedies look like a joke. These films are just a glimpse of the many she has starred in. I can confidently say that 90% of her movies are amazing, classics that remain unforgettable. Nowadays, Hollywood seems to have lost the ability to make original films. Studios are too afraid to take risks. Look at this year. Why are they all surprised why so many movies are bombing at the box office? There are no fresh ideas. It's all sequels, remakes, and ripoffs. That's why it feels so refreshing to look back at a time when Hollywood writers were free to experiment, no matter how silly their ideas seemed. Back then, all that really mattered was the writing. Every film had a 50-50 chance of making money, and the accountants weren't involved in the creative process. Although in some things have changed for the better, the quality still doesn't measure up to the films of that earlier era. People who haven't heard of Phoebe Cates have no idea what they are missing. The films are timeless. She was truly a forgotten unicorn. In real life, she's still alive, happily married, and a mother of two kids who are both artists. She hasn't returned to acting yet. Anyway, I'll be seeing you in the next video.